Steve-O.
What's the word?
Big Q, what up?
What up, Kev?
Man, I know it's not up, and that's the Chicago Bears. If they lose to New England, it's going to be down. It's going to be bear down Chicago Bears for real. Chicago Bulls got whooped on by Dallas in Dallas last night, but Buzelis looked straight. He looked tight with some run, got some burn last night. Blackhawks got whooped on. We're going to talk about all that and anything else that's going on with Chicago sports teams right after the intro. All right, good morning, Chicago sports fans. Welcome to another episode of Chi-Town Sports Central. The whole gang is back in the building today. Appreciate the guys for holding it down yesterday as I was taking care of business with wifey, but we back, baby. What's the word, gentlemen?
Not much. It went exactly how we thought it was gonna go. So,
Ain't too many words.
Look, yesterday was terrible news. Andrew Billings being out for the season, bro. Look, if teams was already running down our throat, they about to run through our whole body now, Jack. It's gonna go crazy.
Yeah, we finna be Tiana Trump.
Not we. Ain't no we in this. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
That's the Bears. I ain't talking about person.
it's also a bad comparison. Tiana Trump got some fame. We about to be Mia Khalifa. The whole world about to hate us after.
Hey, it's gonna be bad, and that's gonna just increase all the speculation about somebody having to go if the Chicago Bears fail to get a victory this upcoming Sunday as we turn the page onto the next game, and that's versus the New England Patriots. New England Patriots have the worst record in the NFL, but since they brought Drake May up to be the starting quarterback, things have looked a little bit different from them. They barely lost the game last week when they went to overtime behind a few crazy plays from Drake May. They do still have a pretty solid running game with Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is they running back over there. And listen, man, they have a strong defense still. Matthew Judon is still over there, and we know anything, if nothing else.
Is he?
Opposing. I think Judon is
No,
still over there.
he in
No,
Atlanta.
he going to Atlanta. You're right. He going to Atlanta. But either way, whoever's over there, it don't matter. They get pressure on the Bears. The Bears give up pressure. They open their legs wide open. They come on in. So it's crazy from how it's looking for the Chicago Bears offensive line lately, especially after the trip to London, after the bye week. Teams have been able to just get pressure on Caleb Williams, and it's not looking good, man. So my question to you guys is, will the Bears break tradition and fire at least somebody in season, not including the defensive coordinator from last year because that was a crazy situation itself. But if the Bears lose to New England, is somebody getting fired? Will heads roll?
No.
Go ahead, Q.
No. The only chance we even have close to someone getting fired is if we lose to the Packers both games.
Okay.
That's the only chance. And I still don't think it'll happen. But that's the only way. Like, those are the games. You lose to the Packers twice, everyone's angry. Because I can guarantee you, we could lose every game the rest of the season and beat the Packers one time. And everybody be like, well, we did beat the Packers this year.
All right.
We did some. And then they'll keep them.
Go ahead, Steve-O.
If heads do roll, it's not gonna be the head coach. It's most likely gonna be Shane. And if it is somebody that's heads gonna roll, if we lose to the Patriots, because you can't sit here and lose to no motherfucking Patriots at this point. Like, they're just not one of those teams that shouldn't stand in the box with us in any standpoint. And most importantly, Caleb can't allow another rookie quarterback to come out and outduel him again, especially somebody of the likes of Drake May that has nothing around him. So, yeah, if somebody is going to roll, it should be the head coach and the OC, but it's most likely just going to be the OC. But I tell you what, if heads do roll, it ain't going to be because Ryan Poles pulled the trigger.
You think it's going to be Kevin?
Yep. I feel like, to me, as I've seen, I don't know personally, but I think Kelvin has at least the amount of patience than Ryan Poles do.
Well, here's my take. And the reason why I can't be fully on board with what you said, Q, is that because the Bears don't play the Packers until the last game of the season for their second game.
That's too much time.
I believe that it's going to be based on the division as a whole and not just the Packers games, because all of the big division games are so compacted. The Bears are going to find themselves in a situation where they play divisional opponents. 3 out of the
Three
next
weeks
four
in a week.
games?
3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. So you go out and you lose to New England. I think they might allow him to coach those first three division games, and based on how those first three division games look, win or lose, how you win, how you lose, is going to determine whether or not they get rid of Eberflus and the OC. The OC might be in trouble if they lose to New England. To agree with you, Steve-O, he might have to go, especially considering that offensive coordinators have been getting put on a chopping block all season long. But at the end of the day, it's Matt Eberflus's entire body of work that concerns me here. Not just this season, but his entire tenure as the Chicago Bears head coach.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have. Does he even have 10 wins yet? What does he got?
I don't.
It's like
I don't
what
know.
14 wins. I think 14 wins
Something like
total
that.
in almost 3 years. So I think that the top brass is looking at all of that to consider what's going to happen, and his head is on the chopping block. Whether or not it rolls sooner rather than later depends on how the Bears play over these next 4 games.
I'm gonna just be quite frank with you. Looking due to the schedule, there's a real possibility we go 0-4 in the
Mm-hmm.
next month.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
If Pose and somebody don't make a decision after that point, I don't know if I can take Pose seriously no more.
Yeah, he's already lost a lot of grace from Chicago Bears fans and probably players alike. And right now, just looking at the way this roster is constructed, even though they did a lot to address the offense, they didn't address the most important aspect of the offense, and that's the offensive line next to the quarterback. And that's a problem right now. And you're right, you cannot take a general manager seriously if he decides to continue to allow emotion to overcome business. The business aspect, the game itself matters more than how you feel about these people that you've brought in. And some of these people you shouldn't have brought in to begin with. That includes Shane Waldron, that includes Matt Eberflus. Nobody was looking at Matt Eberflus as a head coaching prospect in his last days in Indiana. And I think part of that is because Bill Polian became on board to be like the special assistant or the special intel operator or whatever the hell they called. And they created a position for him. And that led to them hiring Matt Eberflus, who during his time with Indiana as a defensive coordinator
I
had
don't
a
think
pit.
Bill. I don't really think Bill wanted them. Bill was looking at. They was really. Doug Quinn thought he had the shit in the bag.
Kramer.
No, I mean Quinn, that the Washington D.C. coach, that used to be the head coach for Atlanta.
Yeah, but I don't think
Quinn.
it's not Doug Quinn. I don't know if is
Is
his
it
name
Dan
Doug.
Quinn?
There you go, Dan Quinn.
Dan Quinn. I knew it was something with a D, but no Diddy. But yeah, when it came to it, like it was a poll. That was a poll decision. He
Yeah,
wanted his guy that he picked, and it was Flus. And at the end of the day, like not only did it wasn't just because of that, he should have taken the last few days of the so-called Indiana Colts under Eberflus, who was supposed to be a top 5 defense at that time. The last game of the season, they got smoked. They gave up a hell of a lead and lost. There was a playoff infinite game against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they lost.
and it wasn't just that. Like that same thing has been happening ever since. Even prior to that, I saw a stat that showed that Matt Eberflus has given up go ahead scores to the opposing teams a lot. Going back to his Denver days and including the Chicago days, I think it's like 27 times or something like that. I'm not sure exactly how true that is, but it's believable. Even if it's fabricated just a little bit, it's definitely believable. Q come right here. The Chicago Bears are still chock full, and all teams at this point in the season have a bunch of injuries. But our offensive line, defensive line, defensive backfield, Tyler Gordon is back limited in practice. Montez Sweat is back limited, but out right now and haven't practiced at all is Amagaje. Andrew Billings is out for the season. Jaquan Brisker still hasn't come back from his concussion, which is very concerning. Braxton Jones didn't practice. Jalen Jones didn't practice. Darnell Wright didn't practice. We do have a full participant. Tevin Jenkins is a full participant, but that injury report is looking real scary. How we feeling about the Bears putting out a hobbled team versus the New England Patriots?
Scared. This is this is an important game where you really need your defense. You need your offense to step up, but you also need your defense to do what they were doing. This is one of the games the rest of the season we have a chance, a small chance of actually winning. Everything else after this point is going to be a struggle. It's going to be the Bears having to really put it all together. So just having to go into this hobbled, have some important people in your defense out, it's going to make it a challenge. Like, especially, I mean, just how they've been playing lately. But the scary, even more scary part is I really believe that this is, and I have a different maybe thought of the front office than you guys. This is why I think he won't get fired. Because this is the type of shit that they end up making dumb excuses for in the future. Oh, well, we didn't have a real full healthy team. Oh, we did beat the Packers one game. We felt the team played kind of okay. Like they'll make this type of shit into excuses in the long run. Um, but yeah, I definitely think this is going to be a hard game. I still think we should win. We still should do this. It's going to take Caleb, really starting to settle down, stop being nervous, stop overthrowing people, and some good coaching decisions. But I mean, it's going to be a game we got to win.
Every game is a game that we have to win, especially in a super crowded NFC North and NFC in general. The Bears basically have played themselves out of the playoff contention, even with just 4 losses. They got a lot of work to do to get back into good graces with fans in the league alike. All right, so if you guys want to hear anything else about the Chicago Bears, head on over to Chicago Bears Central, where Hayes, C-Dub, Bobby, Steve-O, and myself are holding
That
things
shit,
down. It's
that
it's
shit
it's
gonna be bad.
it's going to be an interesting
It's
Sunday,
gonna
but
be damnation in hell. That's all I gotta say.
we're back to Sunday afternoon, a noon game. So at least we don't have to wait till later until to watch the Bears potentially mess up our week. All right, moving right along. The Chicago Bulls are on a 3-game losing streak. Ever since the Brooklyn game, they just pretty much from the whole season. They keep digging themselves into holes and trying to dig themselves out. They pulled it off twice so far, but they can't do it right now, especially with Zach LaVine being hurt. For whatever reason, they decide not to play through Vucevic, especially when he gets off to a hot start. And last night was no exception. They only scored 30 points once, and that was in a garbage time fourth quarter. The Dallas Mavericks took the Chicago Bulls to task, and Daniel Gafford had yet another revenge game on the Chicago Bulls with 17 points last night. So, how are we feeling about the Chicago Bulls last night? Besides my man's Matisse Buzelis, who went out there and had almost a double-double, taking care of business himself, finally getting some run. Billy Donovan. Hope you're paying attention, Billy Donovan. 13 points and 9 rebounds for him. Vucevic was 7 for 10 from the field, Steve-O, but that was it. Only 14 points. The highest scoring starter. Everybody else was pretty meh. Patrick Williams only 2 for 4 from the field with 8 points and 6 rebounds. 4 shots from him is crazy. Kobe White has come crashing all the way down to earth. He doesn't have if he doesn't have like the DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine player out there to take some of the pressure off of him, like some of the double teams, so on. He's not going to hit shots. 1 for 7 from 3 again. And Ayo Dosumu, oh my God, this season for him has been completely catastrophic. Another terrible night shooting for him last night with 6 points on 2 for 13. So that's 5 for 26 combined for your starting backcourt. And then you add Josh Giddey to it. That's 8 for 35 combined from those 3 combined. That's crazy work for Chicago Bulls.
I mean, the Bulls look terrible right now. And I mean, Steve, you saw what everything I said yesterday happened, except for Klay Thompson going off for 35. Literally everything else happened. Like, this team does not know how to play people that are good. And this was a wake-up call. This was them being shown what an actual contender does. Like, Luka played with the Bulls this game. He was just out there
Trash
just
hit.
having fun.
Trash
Like,
hit.
like and then I mean, Kobe White 8 points. You can't be the number one on the team and score 8 points. It can't happen. That W and his last name turned into Will. Like, he literally gave us a P Will game. Legitimately, they both had 8 points, so he legitimately gave us the same game as P Will. Vooch is doing Vooch things. They're still not looking for him in the post again because for some reason we don't want him to do good, and I don't understand it. But my big issue always is just Billy Donovan sitting there on the bench, looking disappointed. not doing nothing, not saying nothing, not screaming at nobody, just staring at the game like he looking at his weird child do a talent show and fucking it up. Like, I don't understand how you could look at him coach and go, that's the guy we want.
Hey guys, guess what I just seen? Kev, did you see it?
See what?
Bleacher Report.
What I see? What I miss?
Let's
It
see.
says Bulls expected to shop stars. Chicago to put LaVine and Vooch on the trade block some point in this season.
I
Oh
want to hear
yeah,
that.
that's not a surprise.
And I think it's just funny. It's funny to me that it's coming because right before I was about to go, it was my mind was set on like, the fuck are we doing? Like at this point, Billy Donovan just gotta go, and you really just gotta start the fuck over. This team just look like it don't look right. You have a guy out there that could get 30 every night if you really wanted to, and you're not feeding him the ball. So now he's playing good, and then towards the end of the game, he gets disinterested. Like, I don't blame him for it because you're not, for the last 3 years, you've been neglecting him. Yeah, we got some injuries here and there, but it's from the same people that we've been dealing with for the last 3 years. At some point, the writing's on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I think that these last 3 games just put it flat. It should put flat in the ownership's Michael Ryan's door's face. Like, bro, it is what it is at this point. You trying to still stay competitive, and it ain't gonna work. You trying to retool shit, and it's not. Just start the fuck over.
Yeah, my take on the Bulls is not no different from what it was prior to the season. I still think they're better than their 28 and a half over under. But the only reason they're going to go under is because of what we just said. As long as Zach and Vooch is on this team, they're going to be a team that wins games. They're going to be that team that I've been saying as a fun, bad team. And we've been seeing it all season. You've seen them come back and have exciting comebacks and exciting victories, and you've seen them have completely WTF moments throughout the season. But if they go ahead and move on from Zach and Vooch, they basically saying we want Cooper Flag. That's what they're saying. I feel bad for Cooper Flag in this instance because
I don't
bring
want Cooper.
well, I want Ace Bailey, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, that's a whole different story.
The
Or his buddy.
Chicago Bulls, Chicago sports teams in general go with what the national consensus is. It's kind of what they did with Caleb Williams, with grabbing him. It was like, well, he's generational. That's what everybody's saying he is. It's also what they did with Mitch Trubisky when people were saying that he was better than Deshaun Watson at the time, and so on and so forth. And the Bulls do it too. They've decided to go with players like, especially Patrick Williams is the most recent one that nobody expected them to draft in the top area, and they decided to do it anyway. So I don't expect them to make the right choice. If the Bulls get the number 1 overall pick this next draft, I just don't expect them to make the right decision at all. But as far as this season is concerned, giving the keys to Kobe, it might be a good thing, it might not, because Kobe's just proven to be inconsistent, especially when teams key in on him and say, oh, well, he's their number 1 option, we're going to play him like this. He decides to fall in love with the jump shot, the step back three, the pump fake side step three is his Achilles heel. And instead of attacking, being downhill, which is what he was good at last season, was attacking the basket and then hitting the mid-range jumper or the floater or getting straight to the rim is where he shined last season, when he became on everybody's radar. This season, he's falling in love with the three and it's not working out. And I don't know what's happening with Io. Like, can any one of y'all tell me what's going on with Io?
I
Because
know what's happening. They're forcing everyone to shoot threes even if they don't want to. We see it. There's literally fast breaks where there's a wide open lane and Io will run to the 3-point line, knowing damn well he's better at going to the fucking rim. Like, it's something with how they're being coached. They're being told, take as many threes as you can. If there's a chance for a three, take it. We live, we die by the three. And you see it all game. They keep passing up good shots for threes. They will literally, we've seen Kobe drive, have a wide open layup, and pass it out for a 3-point shot. And that's the issue. We don't understand that when you live by the three, die by the three, that doesn't mean you pass up shots. It means you take a lot more than what you probably would have. And it's
it
just,
also means that this team is going to die a lot.
yep.
Because they're not the Boston Celtics. They're not the Golden State Warriors who playing great basketball. Hell, there are not a lot of teams in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls tried this approach last season a few times, and where they fell in love with just shooting threes, and they just don't have the personnel to do it, especially with Zach LaVine not being on the court. They'll let Io shoot the corner three all day. They'll let Dalen Terry shoot threes all day long. And you saw Dallas just daring Chicago Bulls players to shoot threes. And they did it last night to the tune of how many threes did they miss? Hold on. They missed a lot of threes. It was embarrassing. Chicago Bulls were 12 for 42 from three. 42 3-point shots, in which you take away 10 of those and you give that to Vooch in the post, that it's a different basketball game.
Yep. And imagine, just imagine, you're the Mavericks, right? And you see Dalen Terry, Io DeSumo, and Josh Giddey on the court. Oh shit, we ain't got to guard the 3-point line at all.
Mm-mm.
We just go back up. They're not hitting none of it. Like, we don't have the shooters to play this way. We just don't.
Well, analytics tell you that you do. That's what the Bulls are thinking. That's what the NBA is all about, analytics right now. If you guys want to hear anything else about the Chicago Bulls, head on over to Chicago Bulls Central with Hayes and Shot Bulls podcast with C-Dub and Bobby. The Bulls are right back in action tonight versus the Minnesota Timberwolves at home. The Chicago Bulls, I think, have only won one game at home so far this season. So it's going to be rough playing a back-to-back against Dallas and Minnesota. And Minnesota don't care that the Bulls played last
Yep.
night. It's going to be a rough one, man, especially if Zach LaVine doesn't play. I hope he comes back tonight because at least it'll be an entertaining game if he does.
Ant's going for 45.
we going to see. We gonna see. All right, moving right along. We're gonna do Chicago White Sox Central. I'm recording it right after this episode where they're saying that they're not going to extend Gary Crochet, Steve-O. They're gonna shop him, and they're seeking position players in return for Gary Crochet in the trade market. We're gonna see how they do. The Chicago Cubs, ain't no real news on those guys. They're just looking to upgrade their roster. Jed Hoyer is talking about filling holes, plugging holes. Q is not going to be a lot of new faces on the Chicago Cubs this upcoming season. You might see a new starting pitcher, a new rotational pitcher, or maybe a new bullpen pitcher, but you're not going to see many new players on this team coming up this upcoming season. It's crazy. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
we have no space. We have no space to bring anybody up. It's just going to be a no matter how good you do down there.
It's all Cody Bellinger's fault. It's all Cody Bellinger's fault for opting in. Well, that makes it the Cubs' fault for giving him that type of contract where he get 2 opt-in clauses. Because you can be in the same situation after this season. If he comes in and plays shitty again, he's going to opt in again. So
one or two. I was going to say 1 or 2 conversations are going to happen. You've been playing really good, but we can't put you up because Cody Bellinger. Or you've been playing really good. Have you ever thought about switching positions?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yep, that's what's going to happen.
Your only options here.
Especially with Matt Shaw. Like, you might see one of them because of the injury to Nico, but aside from that, it's going to be rough. So if you guys want to hear anything else about the Chicago White Sox or the Chicago Cubs, head over to the brand new Chicago White Sox Central page where me and Hayes are holding it down over there. And then the old, but basically free Chicago Cubs page. They're free from the White Sox, Chicago Cubs Central, where me and Big Mike are holding it down over there as well. Mike putting in work. And lastly, the Chicago Blackhawks took an L last night at home to the stinking Detroit Red Wings, old dirty, dusty Detroit Red Wings, 4-1. The Chicago Blackhawks, they just looked listless last night. They didn't have it. It was 2-1 going into the second intermission, and they gave up 2 goals in the third inning or third period, and it just didn't look good.
Soulless.
Yeah, it was a bad loss, man.
It's not
Especially
even, and the bad thing is, it's not like Detroit is a superior team. Like, you let a team that's at the same caliber as you just smoke your ass up.
Just dominate.
I thought they would have been made some trades by now, but if it ain't clear now, it's clear. Y'all need to make some moves. I don't know how realistic it is right now, but hey, some got to do something. They just look soulless though.
Yeah, I mean, the Blackhawks have been playing good hockey. They beat the Kings, they beat the Ducks, and they played good against the San Jose Sharks. They had won 3 out of the last 4 games outright, and they came into the game with a little bit of momentum, and it just didn't work out. They're back in action tonight, and they're playing the Dallas team in hockey, the Dallas Stars. and hopefully they don't get their asses whooped like the Bulls did, because the Dallas Stars are 7-4. They're definitely a pretty good team. The Blackhawks are going to have to bring their A game tonight. If you all want to hear anything else about the Chicago Blackhawks, head on over to Chicago Blackhawks Central, where the gang is holding it down over there. All right, fellas, another morning in the books. This is a good one, man. The Bears, they got work to do. The Bulls definitely got work to do. White Sox and Cubs. Oh yeah, no news on the Chicago Sky. They do have their new head coach. Head over to Chicago Sky Central. Check those guys out for any updates, news, and analysis from there as well. And we're gonna holler at you guys next time. Peace.